Like, and when you were talking about scary stuff, I got to thinking haunted houses. Like when people do haunted houses stuff, like I know Sloss does like the haunted house or whatever, where you walk through it and people are dressed up and you got the really creepy clowns with the chainsaws that, ugh. And then you got all this stuff. I don't go to haunted houses. When I was in high school and after high school, post high school, like my friend group, they would all want to go. And my sister, God love her, she just wanted me to be a part. She didn't want me to miss out on things. And, even though I didn't want to do these things, I would be like, I will ride with y'all to Sauce, but I'm not going in. Well, I'm going to pay for you to go in. I mean, she would pay. I have never paid. Well, that was almost a lie. Outside of Bibb County, I have never paid to go into a haunted house because every time my face is always in somebody's back because I'm not looking, because I don't want to see those things in my nightmares later on. Like, but that being said, the only haunted house that I will go to is a haunted house at the fire station in Blockton. And number one, it supports them. Number two, it's only $5, so it's not that big of a deal. Number three, I know literally every single person that's working in there. So, like, if I'm starting to get freaked out, I'll just be like, and most of them I can recognize by their body shape who it is. So I'll be like, Joe, just if you're Joe, just nod your head so I know you're Joe and not the Jeepers Creepers dude, and I'll feel better. And stuff like that. Or like my friend Andrew knows that I'm not a fan of the scary clowns. Like chainsaws don't bother me. They're loud, but they don't bother me. But I'm not a fan of scary clowns because the movie it put some fear in me, and I just don't like scary clowns. Circus clowns I'm fine with. But Andrew had a clown mask on one day and I just stood there and he finally come up to me and he was like, I'm not taking my mask off, but your whole group has left you. Let me just lead you to the door so you can get out. And like, okay, but I'm not looking at you. So, but I mean, I'll go through that one because I know those guys and I know that, and girls, and I know that they'll take care of me. Like, they're like that, like I was left one time by a group. I went through with a group of my cousin and her friends. And when I say they left me, I mean, they went backwards and left me. And I couldn't figure out how to get out of there. So Joe, who is also the fire chief, walked over to me and he was like, I'll lead you out. But when we get outside, he was like, I'm going to have to leave you. I can't come out like this. And then after the thing was over, he comes out there with his mask off and he was like, hey, there's some chili in the office. You want some? I mean, so I can handle that. But because I know that haunted houses will instill that fear, I it's the conviction thing. It really, to me, it goes back to that. And I'll be real, a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight kind of goes back to that because it's where your heart is with Jesus and how you view Jesus and how you view God and what God talks to you about and what God expects of you, because God knows your heart better than you do. So he knows what's going to put a hang up in your heart. So if God tells you not to do something, he's probably trying to keep you from getting caught up in this sin or in this struggle or in this round of fear. Most of the time, I would wager to say 99 times out of 100, when God gives us those convictions, it's not because he's trying to be mean, you can't have fun. He's trying to say, okay, this is going to give you a hang up down the road. You don't need to do this. But a lot of times we don't listen to it. We just go right on. And then we end up with the struggle or the heartache or, that fear. Excuse me. And it ends up putting that separation between us and God that we really didn't want in the first place.
Yeah, yeah, you're exactly right about that. Like, like I said, it definitely does. Like, it's what you make out of it. Like you said, like when it comes to those festivals, like just putting a twist even on like Toy Story, adding, Jesus. I think that's very creative and awesome. And even at my church, like like I go to a pretty big church, so like we do have like festival, like carnival rides and stuff like that, and then we also have like little games that you can do to trick or treat, and all that, and like win some candy and all that. So I think that's awesome, but also I do feel like there's people out there that just don't like the word like Halloween, like they like if it turned into fall festival, now I'll go and participate in the Halloween activities. But it's like, do you not realize it's the same exact thing as Halloween? Yeah, it's like it's the
I
same
like
exact thing.
Halloween. You're you're still dressing up. You're still getting candy. You're still bobbing for apples in this little tulip bowl looking thing over here. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So, I guess, like I said, a lot of it boils down to just like where you feel like your heart stands and where like the Lord is leading you. So, that's definitely you know, like I said, this was definitely a very good like conversation on Halloween. So, another topic that I want to go into is on the idea of tattoos. So, like I said, there is definitely, like I said, at the same time, like I said, there's, people that are Christians out there. Like I even know, like Jeremy Camp, he has a tattoo. And like I said, there's plenty of other Christian artists. There's Christian rappers, out there that have tattoos. But then there are some people that are on the other side and think that if you get a tattoo, like it's almost like you're being looked down on and maybe like not viewed the same as like before you got your tattoo. So I was wondering, what do you think on tattoos? Do you feel like it's kind of the same where it's based off conviction, or what are you thinking?
Let me just pull up my handy dandy Bible.
I'm
This is
up.
but the Bible I usually use is in my car. Um, yes, I'm weird and have two Bibles. Don't judge me. Um, in Leviticus, old school, we're going old school. It says, you are not to make gashes on your bodies for the dead or put tattoo marks on yourselves. I am the Lord. Okay. I had someone point out to me one day, and I'm not I'm not gonna go on a bashing Christian rant. I'm not, but this is where me and certain other Christians tend to butt heads. A lot of and on both sides of the fence, there's these super religious Christians who are, and I have an aunt that's one of those, and I love her with all my heart. And she has good intentions, and the older she gets, the better she gets. I swear, the older she gets, the more grace she has to give. But my sister has tattoos. I'm gonna just be real, and I love both of them. I'm not doubting the word of God, but a lot of the old school laws, the laws that are found from Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, a lot of those were for Israel, the people of God. I'm not one of those people. I'm not a Jew. I'm a Gentile. Gentiles are people who are not under that same realm. Now, that being said, let's fast forward to, well, not my handy dandy notes, too. Let's fast forward to New Testament. In the New Testament, it says that Jesus came not to abolish the law, but to fulfill the law. And so the law is fulfilled through Jesus. If you feel convicted, I'm going to use that a lot. I told you. If you feel convicted about getting tattoos, by all means, do not get a tattoo. This even says, do not, Leviticus even says, do not do that for the dead. Do not, it's almost like a don't look back. you have to keep, and I've always hated the saying, I get it, but I've always hated the saying, the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror. Take the rearview mirror out. I mean, even Jesus says, let the dead bury let the dead bury the dead. You know, we can't look back, because if we look back, we end up looking back and longing. Like, I'm so bad to say, man, I miss high school, but only band. I don't miss the rest of it. But when we look back in longing, we lose sight of what God is doing. So in First Corinthians, Paul says, or do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God? You are not your own, for you were bought with a price. So glorify God in your body. First off, I don't know if you remember the shirts, but the basement used to have shirts that said bought with a price. Those throwing that in there. But your body is a temple. However, I am also a large person. So if I'm going to sit here and tell somebody you can't have tattoos are going to send you to hell, I'm fat. I struggle with gluttony. That is something that I struggle with. Like, I have to be very careful with that because it is a struggle of mine. I have to be careful with how much I eat. I have to be careful with why I'm eating, because if I'm not eating to put nutrients in my body, if I'm eating because of stress, if I'm eating because I'm bored, which is something that the stress eating is something that I struggle with, then I'm not doing it. That is not glorifying God in my body. A lot of, on one end of the spectrum, a lot of Christians like to be super religious and, oh, you can't have tattoos. No, 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 that you're going to hell if you have a tattoo. Then I have Christians on the other hand that I know that are like, do whatever you want. But that's not how that works either. You can't just, you've got to have some kind of happy medium. And I like to think that I'm in that middle, because I'm not saying I would never get a tattoo. Like you brought up Jeremy Camp. I love him. He's one of my favorites. I have seen him live, and gotta be honest, he's a little bit fine. Just a little bit. Not lusting, just stating fact. He is fine. But I didn't realize he had tattoos. But does that make him any less of a Christian because he has a tattoo? No. As a matter of fact, he probably, if I've learned anything about Jeremy Camp over the years that I've been a fan of his, he probably uses that tattoo as a testament to the Lord. Like, if I ever got a tattoo, it would be something. I'll tell you what my tattoo would be. My other handy dandy notes. Isaiah 44:5 says, this one will say, I am the Lord's. Another will call on the name of Jacob, and another will write on his hand, the Lord's, and name himself by the name of Israel. I'm really bad. Let's see, I've lost my pen. I was going to do this as an example, and now I can't find my pen.